How you going, guys? It's Courtney here again, giving the Face Awards another crack. I had such a good time last year and I couldn't wait to enter this year's awards. So I did Woodland Fairy for my entry. Hope you guys love it as much as I do, and if you want to see how I did it, stay tuned. To make the tree stump headpiece, I bought this cheap basic hat from one of the cheapy shops here in Mandurah, and I just cut the rim off that. Beautiful. I then grabbed this, it was like a textured paper towel. There's brown paper on there, just ignore that, that was an absolute useful step. But I continued to glue on this paper towel, which I folded over a few times, and used this cheap craft glue, which didn't do anything, guys, it didn't even work. So if you're going to do this, use hot glue, quick and simple. This paper towel was wicked because it had ridges in there which made my little tree stump have a little bit of texture. So yeah, it took a little shortcut there, which was fantastic. And it takes a lot to paint texture. Just take your time. You're going to go through a lot of paint too, just warning you. And once that is dried, we're going to add some vines. So I'm just taking this hot glue gun and yeah, just putting some veiny ridge thingies on the tree stump, which looked pretty damn cool, I must admit. And because that dries super quick, I'm a super impatient person, this was perfect for me. So then I took some green acrylic paint and just painted those, which really popped against the brown. I was actually quite shocked. And I put a bit of that same green paint onto the tree stump itself in like little clusters to look a little bit like moss. Don't forget to paint the inside. You guys, you would be so excited to see inside this little box, my little box of tricks. Look at all my stuff. Been collecting it over like 2 years, so it's fantastic. So I had some moss in there, also this viney looking thing which I just pulled apart anyway and used hot glue to secure it all. The little stringy bits on hot glue kill me, so be prepared for that, but make sure you get all the stringy bits off because we don't want that all over our tree stump. Went ahead and glued in some flowers. I didn't want it over massed with flowers. I wanted more leaves than anything. So at this stage I was pretty damn excited because I honestly did not know where this was going. Totally winged it. Didn't know if it was going to look any good, but yeah, it turned out pretty bloody cool, I must admit. Now, meet my friend Susan. Susan and I work closely together on a lot of projects, especially for this one here. So I, what's that stuff called? Masking. I taped the headpiece to Susan, and I also had these latex elf ears sitting there for ages. So I thought, cool, let's whip them onto our Woodland Fairy. So I taped them on just to know how far to bring my front latex piece down. So I'm just creating some extra thick vines or tree roots here with some alfoil because they can mold into pretty cool shapes. And I hot glued that onto Susan. Onto the tree stump on Susan. And put one on the other side too. These were extremely annoying. Yeah, these were really damn annoying. So if you're going to do it, probably make them shorter so they're not coming down your face. I then took some cotton balls and latex and kind of ramped that headpiece down onto the forehead of Susan. And this was just so I could blend the stump into my actual face to make it look like it was all one piece. And then I had this thick twine stuff. So I just popped that on there to make one of the roots. Easier than the alfoil, just go straight for the twine. That'll do the trick. And then I went in with that same brown acrylic paint, but it dries a little bit lighter on top of the latex, so I had to do about 3 layers to blend it in with the tree stump. And I finished that tree stump off with extra moss and flowers. To make the costume, I started off with these bags of leaves and this skirt I got from the op shop. I think all up it cost me like $4.50. Bargain. Now, I am not a sewer. I couldn't sew a damn button on, so hot glue is my best friend in this. I just trimmed some of the stems off the leaves and began gluing. Kind of overlapping some leaves, scattering them. I wanted different heights, different lengths, different textures. But I can't believe I scored these bags for like 50 cents each. They were bloody perfect. And yeah, that took me like half an hour to make the skirt nice and easy. And then I grabbed Susan again and I wrapped my strapless bra around her head. I tied the back of it to keep the front kind of taut. And then I got this cool moss material from Spotlight and just started hot gluing that on. If you're going to use this stuff, maybe trim the side of it, because I swear to God, like I almost pierced my nipple with it. This crap's sharp, alright? Just be prepared. And hot glue's hot, so don't burn yourself, don't pierce your nipples. Pretty simple. I grabbed the leaves after I'd put the moss down. I wanted this as my base, so to cover as much of that black as I possibly could. I didn't worry about the back because I knew my wings were going to cover that. Speaking of wings, I picked up these wings cheap from a costume shop just outside of Mandurah. Lady's really cool. She's like, just take these and see what you can do with them. So I was like, beauty, I'm going to bust out my hot glue gun and I'm going to glue all the fake leaves that I have in my studio. So most of these leaves were from the op shop, but I did get some from Kmart as well. I cut a few holes in the wings just so I could weave some leaves through there. Don't do that. There's no point doing that because I did the front and the back anyway. I cut up that big leaf because it was massive and it was going to be great to use as a space filler along with this vine. I use this vine in my headpiece because I want everything to be matchy-matchy, and then I put on some moss in the areas where there was nothing. And then I put them on my child to model them because she wants to be a part of it. There you go, George. Thanks, babe. Hello, gorgeous. I started off by trying to apply a bald cap. Wasn't too good. Had a few little mishaps, such as. Damn it. That's fine, just chucked it in the bin and find the next best thing. So this is like a cohesive bandage. It sticks to itself. It's pretty cool. And then I grabbed an average blue glue stick, glued my brows down and applied my headpiece. I then took this rank liquid latex. This was a real smelly one. And just sponged that onto my forehead and then up into the headpiece just to blend in those edges. I then took some, what is this stuff? Twine, and covered it in latex and made some tree roots coming onto my forehead. I then covered my face and body in like this lime green body paint, and I used the NYX white eyeshadow base to highlight under my eyes, forehead, nose and chin. I then contoured with this dark green body paint. Look at my beauty blender. Pff, shocking. And into my brow arch and contoured my nose. I popped a bit of that green into the edge of this tree stump, and then I defined the roots with some brown body paint. I had these latex ears floating around in my special effects box, so I just painted them with the same coloured body paint and used Prozaid to stick that to my ear. I then took the dark green from the NYX Avant Pop palette and intensified my contour further. And I created a cut crease with that same green on a smaller brush. Oh, here's my mate coming to trim my bush for me. Thanks, girl. I then intensified that further with the black from the Avant Pop palette, which is an eyeshadow. It's an eyeshadow, guys. Blends out beautifully. And pop that into the inside of my crease. And highlighted with the NYX Pigment Luna. I took the NYX white eyeshadow base once again, and I cut my crease. This is just a flat concealer brush. And then I set the inner half with the NYX Loose Pigment Luna, and on the outer half I used Pigment Twinkle Twinkle. I then contoured my little snot catcher, and I also defined my lip line with the same green and black shadow. God, spit it out, Courtney. And then I defined my lower lash line with that same dark green shadow. I grabbed their matte liquid liner and defined my top lash line and just under my lower lash line. Popped on these sickening lashes and put some on the lower lash line, make it real dramatic. I then took the NYX Glam Liner in Aqua Luxe and I popped on some fairy freckles. Oh, and having a nugget break. Sponsor me, KFC. Love your work. And then I took their white liquid liner also and popped on some more fairy freckles. Okay, I applied those same colour body paints all over my body, and instead of using a brush, I used my hand and it blended out really well. I was pleasantly surprised. I then defined my collarbones, you know, the bits in my neck there, and my ribs, just to give it a little bit of dimension, seeing as the green made my body quite flat. And I took that same brown body paint on a thicker brush and I painted some tree roots coming down from the headpiece onto my shoulders. I put on those wings and, this wasn't very bright, but I used a hot glue gun to stick on the flowers and leaves onto the straps. Don't hit your skin, it hurts. Popped in some yellow eye contacts and that is it. Whoo! This one took forever. The preparation work was killer. The application wasn't too bad. But I hope you guys love this as much as I did. And hopefully it's enough to get me into the top 30. That would be grand.
Now do a hula, yeah. Oh, juice!
Hey.
She's alright.
Yeah, the camera as well.
I got rid of the stick.
This is recording this whole thing. Good. I'm gonna jump out and go, ah!